Did you know that the top movie IMDb says M. Night Shyamalan is known for is the absolute banger known as The Lady in the Water? I haven't even seen that movie and I know it's I mean, at least it's not The Last Airbender, right? That would be embarrassing. That is just my way of saying that I watched Knock at the Cabin and I have some thoughts. If you've seen it already, let me know down in the comments below what you thought. If you haven't, then let me know if you plan to see it. With that, let's get started with the good. And can I just say that Sir Shyamalan put together a great cast for this one. The absolute king Jonathan Groff, Dave Bautista, who has really grown into an incredible actor, Nikki Amuka Bird, and even that red hair guy from Harry Potter. This stellar cast of characters is extremely important in this movie because you really only spend time with these core people that are inside of the cabin. Excellent performances across the board here that really drew me into the story and what all of this meant for each of these characters. Also, we can admit it. Even when M. Night Shyamalan throws together this piece of junk movie, we can at least admit that it has an intriguing plot. He has these type of movies that after you see the initial trailer, you just can't wait to see what in the world happens in this movie. From the moment I sat my tushy in that theater seat, I was all in. Not like all into the seat, because the seat wasn't actually that comfortable, but I was all into the movie. To me, that's a huge step in putting together a film like this, and Shyamalan always brings his A game. Of course, if you don't have the execution there, then you're gonna leave some audience members pretty upset. But on to my next point, this movie does not disappoint. It pretty much gave me exactly what I wanted when I saw the trailer for it. And I think a big part of that is because unlike a lot of his other movies, Shyamalan kinda kept this one simple. Like, granted, the overall story of this is crazy, but instead of it being something that has a million different things going on all at once, there's one topic at hand with realistically two possible outcomes. Either these people are going crazy or they're right. And sure, there are details in between as to why and how, but overall it's pretty straightforward. I think I can say that this movie is one of the least M. Night Shyamalan movies of all M. Night Shyamalan movies. I don't really know if that makes much sense, but for me, it was a good thing. I also appreciated the way that character stories were told in this. You would get flashbacks every now and then surrounding the main couple that do a solid job of showing you what they mean to each other and what this situation as a whole means to them. I felt connected to them, I cared for them, and I was definitely rooting for them. Typically, I am not a fan of flashback scenes, but in this movie, it worked so well to keep the suspense going throughout. Lastly, I wanted to point out that the score in this really adds an extra element of horror and suspense that I feel this movie needs. It wasn't anything out of this world, but I think it evoked the right emotions that it was supposed to. So for that, it's a job well done. But with that, let's travel onward and see what I had mixed feelings about. And I've just got to say, while there were some really cool moments of cinematography in this, I feel like they could have done a lot more. Like, I'm sure you've seen in the trailer where good old Dave picks up his axe looking thing and the camera spins around with him as he lifts it and then thrusts it forward. That's a cool moment. There were a few shots in here that were really dope, but in between those moments, there were times where I felt it could have done a lot more. That scene with the axe is so intimidating, largely because of the camera movement, and I just think that there were more scenes that could have used a bit more dynamics. Also, I don't know if they spent too much money on the Harry Potter guy or something, but some of the CGI in this was rough. There's not too much CGI in this, but when there is, you can really tell. Hence, mixed. Also, and I said this before, but this movie is not like a lot of other M. Night Shyamalan movies where there's this big mind-blowing twist. So I think for people that are coming in expecting that, it could be a little bit of a disservice. There's just two things that it could really be in this movie, and in the end, it ends up being one of those two things. Again, there's the why and the how that has to be discovered, but for some people, this may genuinely not be what you expected or wanted from this movie. Personally, I'm cool with it because I think a lot of those twists can take away from movies sometimes, but you may think otherwise. With that though, let's move on to the bad. This is another one where I'm not sure if it was budget or what it was, but for a horror-esque type of movie, I expected a little gore. I genuinely walked out of the theater and immediately looked up the rating for this movie because I kind of assumed it was PG-13. To my surprise, it is rated R. Don't get me wrong, the topic and the depiction of violence are certainly in the R rating category, but like this movie showed less gore than the PG-13 Mithrigan that came out last month. My only theories are that either A, they knew they didn't have the special effects to make the deaths look real, or B, they wanted this to be PG-13 PG-13 but got shut down and decided to keep it the same anyway. I'm personally not a big gore guy, but you can't just cut away anytime you're gonna kill someone. That's a huge part, not only for the horror aspect, but also for the emotional aspect of it. When me see someone die, me gets sad. When camera cut away and someone die, me just go meh. And finally, making it on my bad list is just the fact that I feel like they could have done more with this. I don't know if the runtime here was chopped off a bit or if this was just the way it was planned, but with such a big premise, I guess I just expected some more from this movie. I could have used more background on our characters. I could have used more apocalypse footage. I could have used more fights and suspenseful moments. When this movie does something good, it does it really good, and I just wanted more of that. I guess they do say, always leave them wanting more. For me, it just takes a movie that could have been amazing or outstanding and just kind of drops it to pretty good and enjoyable. If that was your aim, then you hit right on target. With all of that being said, let's move on to my final thoughts. This is absolutely a solid movie. I'm not gonna say that it's The Sixth Sense good, but it far surpasses some of Shyamalan's biggest flops. Basically everything this movie sets out to accomplish, I would give it an above average grade. And because of that, I'm going to give M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin a B+. Definitely go see this. I think suspense movies like this are always better in the theater, and I really believe that if the trailers and promotions for this felt like something you would enjoy, then you almost certainly will. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.